everyone. Welcome to the Project Veritas Wall of Shame, where the journalists' reputations go to die, where journalists have to print retractions and corrections in articles attacking us. That's why we call it the Wall of Shame. That's why it's very ironic, and that's why we make videos like this. Today's retraction is a special retraction. It comes from CBS News. CBS News This Morning, which aired a video report. CBS News showed the video of this COVID testing line. There were actually fake patients in the cars. They had put fake patients in the cars. There's some questions about whether it was CBS News or whether it was in fact the hospital itself. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, here's the report.
In Grand Rapids, because of expanded criteria and more state funding, we found a 25% increase in testing at Cherry Health. Tasha Blackman is the CEO.
So we do have enough testing kits, but we're really short on gowns. We're also short on N95 masks. We cannot expand further without any additional personal protective equipment.
They also can't expand testing because of recent staffing cuts.
Cherry Health has laid off about 25% of our staff.
Wow. And at a time like this.
Exactly.
So CBS News, in fact, announced they were taking down their report. They put an editor's note on CBS This Morning saying, quote, CBS News could not verify the authenticity of a scene from one of the testing sites initially featured in the story. At least one staff member of Cherry Health, which operated the testing site in Michigan, may have been in the line along with real patients. The story aired last Friday. However, CBS News learned of that possibility Tuesday night, and references to that testing site have been deleted from the video and this accompanying article. Now, what's especially interesting about the episode is that we received statements both from CBS On the Record and the hospital on the record, but we also obtained an email between the CEO of the hospital and Adriana Diaz, the CBS correspondent. And in that email, which was sent Tuesday night before we even aired our story, the CEO says, quote, I am learning that some of our staff may have been hanging around near the testing tent, and some even may have pulled their cars up to get in the video and or make it look a bit busier, noted the CEO. So she's admitting, the hospital CEO is admitting, that they were trying to make it look busier. And the Washington Post has reached out to her to try to get her comment. We've reached out to Adriana Diaz. No one has returned our calls. This is a pretty extraordinary thing. Now, the Washington Post has also said, quote, large national broadcasters stand by their on-air work if at all possible. So the fact that CBS is removing the Cherry Health portion of the Diaz story amounts to a significant concession that something went awry in Grand Rapids. The Washington Post also says, quote, by virtue of its audience reach, CBS News has the power to incentivize others to alter the scenes greeted by its news crews. Journalists aware of this rink-titillating dynamic can ask interviewees, hey, it's usually this busy around here, or how long was the line yesterday? Anything to keep O'Keefe out of the proceedings. Anything to keep O'Keefe out of the proceedings. The exposure of the fraud and the corruption is worse than the corruption and the fraud itself. And oh, by the way, if we're supposed to trust these powers that be, if we're supposed to believe them no matter what, we're not allowed to question their motivations or their ethics or their journalism, then what happens when they fake the news? But not for Project Veritas. You wouldn't know about this. CBS News should be thanking us. And by the way, all of this, every bit of it, could be avoided if journalists just stuck to the facts. There are a lot of unanswered questions about this. This is not done. The CEO of the hospital still has some questions to answer for. There were political events hosted by this clinic in Michigan. There may or may not be relationships between the governor of Michigan and the CEO. A lot of unanswered questions, a lot of tipsters and sources messaging us as we speak. But all of this could be avoided if people just stopped being so fraudulent and people stuck to the facts. Now, one more comment. The biggest frequently asked question I get about the Retracto series are the plushies. The plushies. Let me just say, we're very busy, so we don't have time to mess around here, but one of our staffers at Project Veritas has found a Retracto plushie, and more on that soon. Again, all of this could be avoided if the journalists just stick to the facts. That's all we ask. Just focus on your jobs, take it seriously, We're running out of space. We'll figure that out.